Hello, my name is Richard. You're watching Over and Over and Over Again, and this is the Juventus Women versus Arsenal Women Champions League match preview. So welcome back to the channel then. In this video we are going to look ahead to this week's Champions League game here in Turin. Juventus Women against Arsenal Women. Can Arsenal Women make it 3 victories in a row in the group stage to put us really in control of our destiny? It's going to be a tough game. We're going to look at the history of the Juventus Women. We're going to look at the stadium that they play in. We're going to feature their coach as well, someone that we know very well. We're going to look at some players that's played for both these clubs, the current form. We're also going to look at the lineups, give a score prediction, and also pick a player to watch. It's all coming up. If that sounds like something you might enjoy, please consider subscribing to the channel. Please give this video a like as well. Lots and lots to get through, so let's get cracking. This is the Juventus Women versus Arsenal Women match preview. So it was the Juventus general manager Giuseppe Marotta who announced in May 2017 that the club were going to form an official ladies team, and the club was officially founded in July 2017. Now, there had been other women's clubs in and around the Turin area with Juventus in their name, such as Real Juventus and Juventus Torino, but none of those had any official links to the men's club. Now, Juventus were fortunate they were able to purchase the license of Serie A club Conchio, who disbanded that year. And what that meant was they could go straight into Serie A. And they did sign a lot of players from the neighbouring Brescia, who had been the reigning defending league champions. Now, Juventus won the league in their first season, beating Brescia in a playoff, a penalty shootout actually in the playoff. And they went on to win it all 5 seasons that they've been in the league. They also won their first cup in 2019. They won it again in 2022. And in fact, last season, they did complete their first ever domestic treble. So that is a very brief history of Juventus Women. The Juventus Women's official home ground is the Juventus Training Centre, which is known as Vinovo. It did open in 2006 and it was the training facility for the men's team. But when they built a new training ground in 2018, the training centre became the home for the Juventus Women and also the Juventus youth teams. However, in the Champions League this season, the women are playing in the main men's stadium that you can see behind me, which is called the Allianz Stadium in Turin. It was built in 2011. It did replace the Stadio del Alpi, and it holds a capacity of 41,507. Hopefully, it'll be a big crowd for this game on Thursday. So Juventus's coach then, we know him very well, don't we? Joe Montemurro. He was born on the 13th of September 1969 in Melbourne, Australia. He did play in Italy at semi-professional level at Potenza and Opitagina, but he did begin his coaching career back in his native Australia with Sunshine George Cross. That was in 2006. He did manage also Coburn United in Australia as well before moving to Papua New Guinea to take over at a club called Port Moresby. Between 2014 and 2017, he was back in Australia with Melbourne Victory and then with Melbourne City. And of course, he did take over at the Arsenal Women in November 2017. He won the Continental Cup just a few months later, beating Manchester City in the final. He also led the club to the FA Cup final at Wembley, but we did lose to Chelsea. However, his first full season, the 2018-2019 season, he led Arsenal to the first WSL title since 2012. Another Continental Cup final as well. This one was lost on penalties to Manchester City. Of course, after that, we did finish third in the COVID hit 2019-2020 season, where we lost another Continental Cup final, that one to Chelsea in the final moments of that game. And then we finished third again in the 2020-2021 season to again qualify for the Champions League. But Joe left in the summer of 2021 to take over at Juventus, where he won the treble in his first season and led the club to the quarterfinals of the Champions League for the first time ever. So in total then, he was manager of Arsenal in 76 matches, of which 58 were won and only 12 were lost. And the team scored 223 goals in those 76 matches. Really successful man. It's going to be great to see him again, isn't it? It's Juventus coach Joe Montemurro. So Juventus' record in Europe then doesn't go back very far. They was only formed in 2017, as we said. Last season under Joe, they did reach the quarterfinals for the first time before losing to eventual winners Lyon. They did win their home game 2-1, but they lost 3-1 away from home to go out of the competition. They did, of course, meet Chelsea in the group stage last season as well, and they got a very creditable 0-0 draw at Kings Meadow, but they did lose the home game 2-1. This season then they qualified by beating Koga in the qualifying round. Of course, Koga that we know very well from last season. And so far in the group stage this season, they did win 2-0 in Zurich in the opening game before a very creditable 1-1 draw with Lyon here in their last game. So there are a couple of players who have played for both these clubs in their career. Of course, the Juventus goalkeeper, Pauline Peyrod-Magnin, she did play 16 times for Arsenal between 2016 and 2020 before she did leave for Atletico Madrid. She joined Juventus last year and she has won 36 caps for France. Also, as well, our very own Lena Herzig, although injured at the moment, she did, of course, join Arsenal from Juventus this summer. She had scored 11 goals in 34 matches for the Italian champions, and she also has 58 caps for Sweden, scoring 19 times. Of course, she did play for Sweden in Euro 2022. Another player who has played for both these clubs, of course, famous name from the Arsenal women, Liane Sanderson. She, of course, did have 2 spells at Arsenal. During her first spell, of course, she helped us win the quadruple in 2007. She scored 40 goals that season and then 51 goals the season after. She did end up playing just twice for Juventus in 2018. Of course, Sanderson did win 50 caps for the England Lionesses, scoring 15 times. So in terms of current form then, Juventus are currently second in Serie A. They've only lost 1 of their 9 league games this season. That was a 4-3 defeat at AC Milan. They are 4 points behind leaders Roma, however, but they did win 2-1 away at Parma last weekend. So we're coming into this game in good form. So the one to watch then is going to be Barbara Bonesio, who was born on the 13th of June 1991. She began her career at Torino in 2006, where she scored 21 goals in 108 games before she moved to Brescia in 2012. She won 2 league titles and 2 cups there before moving on to Juventus in 2017. She's gone on to win a further 5 league titles and another 2 cups. She scored 49 goals in just 90 appearances for Juventus, and she also scored 28 goals in 69 appearances for the Italian national side, where, of course, she did also play in Euro 2022. So the one to watch on this game will be Barbara Bonesio. Juventus have had a pretty steady lineup actually this season in both the Champions League and in the Serie A. This is generally how they've been lining up. In goal, as we said, it's Pauline Peyrod-Magnin. Their back four generally has been Martha Lenzini, Linda Sembrant, the Swede, Kokalea Salva and Lisa Botlin. In midfield, they've had Sophia George Pedersen, Julia Grosso and Adriana Caruso, and then the 3 up front is Barbara Bonesio, Christina Grilla and Linef Beerstein, the Dutch striker. So that's been how Juventus have been lining up. I'm not expecting too many changes from them for this game on Thursday. Of course, for us, we've got so many injury problems at the moment, just been added to by the news we heard that Beth Mead has ruptured her ACL. So she is going to be out for the rest of this season. She's going to miss the World Cup. She's going to be out for probably the best part of a year. Really, really sad news. We do wish Beth all the best. Of course, with the other injuries that we've got as well, we're down to the bare bones for this game. It's going to make it very tough, isn't it? I'd expect us to line up something like this. I think Manu Zinsberger will start in goal. I'd imagine that Laura Wainwrighter will start at right back. The centre-backs are going to have to be Lotta Ruben-White and Steph Catley because Leah Williamson and Rafaela Souza are still not fit. And Katie McCabe will probably have to start at left back again. In midfield, you'd imagine it'll be Jordan Nobbs and Leah Walty. In the number 10 position, I wouldn't be surprised to see Viv Miedemar starting in that particular position. I think maybe Frida Marner might move slightly further forward to replace Beth Mead on the right. I think Stina Blackstenius will be through the centre. and Caitlin Ford on the left. That's pretty much all the fit players that we've got, let's be honest. So it's going to be a really tough game with the injuries that we've got, but it's still a very strong Arsenal team. It's just we lacking options on the bench, and of course we are missing some very key players. So in terms of a score prediction then, I mean, it's going to be tough, isn't it? As we've said, the problems that we've got on the injury side of it, Juventus have got a very settled team. They don't seem to have too many injury issues at this moment in time, and I think it's going to be a tough game. We've got 6 points on the board already, which is a great start. A draw here would be a fantastic result, wouldn't it, in the circumstances? There's no reason why we can't get a victory, but of course that defeat to Manchester United at the weekend has put a bit of a downer on everyone at the club, hasn't it? What with the news of Beth's injury as well. So we need a lift from somewhere. Hopefully we can put in a decent performance, but it is going to be a really, really difficult game. It's not the end of the world if we were to lose. We've got to play Juventus at home, and we've also got Zurich to come as well before we face Lyon. So it wouldn't be a disaster if we did lose, and I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe don't get a result in this game due to the issues that's happening at the moment. But I'm going to be positive. I'm going to predict a final score here in Turin: Juventus Women 1, Arsenal Women 1, and I think we'll all be delighted with that, won't we? So that is the preview then, Juventus Women against Arsenal Women this week in the Champions League. It's a big game. It's a difficult game. Let's hope we can get the right result. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you do enjoy what we do on this channel, we do cover the women and the Arsenal men as well, of course, plus lots of stuff on the history of the club. Please consider subscribing as well. It all helps the channel to grow. We've been growing well over this last few months since the start of this season. We're looking to reach a larger audience, so if you can help us out by liking and subscribing, that would be much appreciated. So that's this video then, looking ahead to this big game on Thursday night in Turin. Let's hope Arsenal Women can put the injury worries behind us and the defeat against Manchester United behind us and bounce back with a really positive performance and a good result. We wasn't expecting to win in Lyon. Maybe we can produce something special here on Thursday. I'll be covering this game, of course, on the channel for the watch along, so please join us just before 8 o'clock. We'll give you some team news, a bit of build up, and then of course full match commentary in your comments as well. Please join us for that. And then on a slightly different night this week, we're going to be doing the Arsenal Women's Weekly Show on Saturday at 4 p.m. due to England playing in the World Cup, of course, on Friday. So that's on Saturday at 4 o'clock. So please join us for those shows if you can. It'd be great to have your company. This has been over and over and over again. My name is Richard. This was the Juventus Women versus Arsenal Women match preview, and we will see you on the next one.